people's instinctual rebuttal on the internet is go, oh, you have all this time to respond to people. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I woke up at 4 p.m. Didn't have to work till 8. Yeah. I have so much time.
I have time.
Right?
Yeah. A few moments later.
There's a point where you're just going to be like, yeah, I'm a pretty busy guy with a lot going on.
Yeah.
And if you think I suck, God bless. I got things to do.
Welcome back to another video. Today we've got Tom Segura with your girlfriend's favorite TikTok comedian. Matt Rife took some time out of his very busy schedule to learn from a comedy veteran who has multiple Netflix specials, several podcasts, and dozens of bodies in his basement. And it was quite the conversation. What started out as a get-to-know Matt Rife turned into this little therapy session where Tom Segura gave his younger, better-looking protege career advice on how to handle fame, fortune, and, of course, those angry fans who love to hate.
Dude,
Really?
I'll copy and paste tour dates in a comment section and be like, pull up. Like, I'm waiting to fight somebody at a venue. I can't wait.
Okay.
Cannot wait, dude.
You got to let that go, dude.
I know that's me being 27 and egotistical, but it's just like, I can't stay. I threatened to somebody's grandma one time.
No, that's cute. Now, as you can imagine, Tom Segura giving anybody advice on how to be a good person can only end in a cringe compilation full of hypocrisy, doublespeak, and straight-up lies. So we'll get to that in a moment. But first, for those of you who aren't familiar with androgynous TikTok stars, here's a brief background on Matt Rife's rise to fame.
When did things like really change? Because I remember I was in a vehicle on tour and my photographer was in the back and he goes, you know Matt Rife? And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you seen like his crowd work? And I was like, no. He's like, you haven't seen the clips? And I was like, the are you talking about? I had no idea what he was talking about. So he sends me a clip and I was like, yeah, it's really good. And then I look and it says like 19 million views. I was like, what the?
Oh yeah.
And then it was like, I looked at the next one and it said like 25 million views. I was like, what is going on? Like it was an explosion. Mm-hmm. I had seen you announce, I think your millionth follower on Instagram or something like that.
Okay.
Like I saw it like, maybe it like scrolled down a little bit. I was like, oh. And then it was like 2 million, 3 million. I was like, this jump is like very, very, it's growing in the TikTok thing.
August of last year was the first time that like I started to get a bit of a following when people would start to come out to a show. July of last year, so 13 months ago, I was maybe profiting $150 to fly myself out to do a one-nighter in Philly that like 80 people would show up to.
A year ago.
Wow, that's pretty insane. You got to admit, that's some incredible growth. Good luck to him. I hope he makes the most of it before his looks fade and he has to actually write funny jokes. And speaking of looks, our boy Tom is looking great. For those of you who don't know, Tom used to be a fat slob who wrote funny jokes and had awesome stand-up routines. Then he got rich and famous, snapped his arm trying to do a layup, and then hired a personal trainer to get him into shape. Now, in addition to being a comedian, he's become a motivational speaker, fitness guru, and serial entrepreneur.
Cramp right now?
Yeah, hamstring cramp. God, I know.
You have a baseball in the back of your leg?
No, I'm holding it. Hamstring just cramped up. We did deadlifts right before I came here.
By the way, you look great, man.
Thanks, bro.
You look fantastic.
Thanks,
How
man.
much are you down over the past like year?
Around 40 pounds or something.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What made you want to make that change?
Just being sick of it.
Of just being fat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's affected you on stage, like being in better shape, or because you're so established, you've been established as a comedian, people already respect your comedy?
I don't think.
Do you get any being like, oh, Tom's changed, he got skinny now?
Yes.
He's trying to be something else now. Like,
yeah, but I completely dismiss and ignore that like 100%. You know, I mean, yeah, it's usually it's dudes.
Which is insane.
Yeah, they go bring back Fat Tom.
Why?
Because they go like that's when I found you, or that's what I liked you more than you were fun. I'm like, this is nonsense. You know?
Because of the way I look. That's insane.
It's nonsense. I completely. I mean, I'll never entertain it. I don't pay any mind to it. I don't respond to it.
Wow. Okay, hang on a second. Let's back up that truck. Did Matt Rife just say it's insane that people judge Tom based on the way he looks? So the pretty boy whose audience is prominently women is complaining that people shouldn't judge comedians based on their looks? So if women stop going to his shows, who's going to buy the tickets, bro? Middle-aged fat dudes? Well, no, that's Tom's audience, and that's one of the big lies that Tom tells himself. People haven't turned on Tom because he got into shape and started looking after his health. No, that's a good thing. Good for him. We all hope he lives a long and happy life. People are turning against him because he changed, not us. Ever since he came into fame and fortune and got into shape, he turned into this egotistical control freak that forgot how to just laugh at himself. Tom was a great stand-up comic up until a few years ago. Some of you probably don't realize I still have Tom in my top 10 comedians. He's a really funny guy, but that's because his old stuff was so raw and he felt like one of us. He made observations about the world that we could relate to. Now we get hours and hours of his podcasts where he's either bragging about all his shiny toys, lecturing us on how to stop being poor and pathetic, or indulging in a therapy session with Bert Kreischer where they obviously both need to seek professional help off camera. But this Matt Rife guy, geez, who knew he was such a hothead? Lucky his audience are mostly women.
I'm so confrontational as a person. Like, it drives me insane. I can't beat the fuck out of these people.
Yeah.
But then you have to sit back and go, well, I'm really allowing these people to determine how I feel throughout my day.
You gotta like,
and it's fucking pathetic.
Exactly. Look, you're literally living your dream.
Yeah, of course.
And it's like, you can't let someone's bitterness or negativity suck that joy out of you.
Now, the first thing you need to know is that this podcast is an older recording. Sure, it was released yesterday, but it's probably a few weeks old. Matt Rife mentioned he was just about to do Lauren Compton's First Date podcast, and that episode's almost a month old already. But there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have an issue with pre-recorded podcasts, especially when the topics are not current events or anything like that. This was just two dudes talking about their lives and careers and whatever else, so it's not a big deal if they produce a month in advance. However, what makes this so funny is that they would have recorded this before Tom Segura's epic meltdown over having to check his bag at the airport, where he went on Twitter and abused the TSA agent for 2 days straight. So here we have Tom Segura giving Matt Rife some of the most hypocritical advice I have ever seen.
Dude, the courage of people on the internet is
of course. And they don't want
unbelievable
any of this.
Nah, dog. Show them. Show them what happens.
What's up, dog? You don't want this.
Nuts, man. Just trolls that live at home talking the most amount of.
Of course. But that's what I'm saying is that, like, you know, people say whatever, like all this stuff. I don't know, dude. You got to, like, I'm focused on all these other things.
Yeah.
And I go, like, I really don't have time. I don't even want to, like, entertain it. I'm like, okay. Like,
yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I can't.
You will. You'll let it go because it's going to be the more you're working and the more opportunities you get and the more things you have going on, you'll realize you have less time and less interest in responding and engaging.
Wow, the best part is that Tom probably had no idea that this podcast would be dropping right after his Twitter meltdown. I doubt he's that clued into the production and release schedule. Oh man, that's funny as hell. And it also reminds me of that time when Tom tried to roast a bunch of us who were sick and tired of listening to him and his comedy brain buddies constantly going on and on about their new watches and cars. For a guy who's super busy and doesn't have time to concern himself with petty negativity, he seems to spend a lot of time engaging in petty negativity.
If you just sit around and you know what? You only have what you have because of fans, so don't talk about us like that. Yeah, but you're still a loser if you're thinking like that. And so you're maybe, I'm lucky to have you as a loser fan, but you don't have to be that way. You could be a winner. You know, you just got to change the way you think.
And I'll tell you what, having access to hours of unfiltered brain farts from all these Muppets on their podcasts, you start to realize really quickly just how sensitive these guys are. I mean, it's truly incredible that with all of their fame and success, they spend so much time fixated on what people think of them. And it becomes a double-edged sword. Think about Tom Cruise or The Rock or even Dave Chappelle. Those guys have had such long and successful careers because they don't care what you think. They're just out there producing movies or doing stand-up. They don't sit around lecturing us on why we should love them and why we're all wrong for criticizing them.
There's a subculture of cancel culture. Like getting canceled is due to something you did or at least allegedly did, right?
Right.
But there's a subculture of people who, like, you didn't do anything wrong, but people just don't like you
Sure.
enough that they
Yeah.
go, let's all collectively get together. If we all just talk about how much we hate this person so much, it'll spread. People not liking you is contagious, even if there's for no reason whatsoever. And that's the kind of stuff that can make its way to not just regular people who are going to come out, who were thinking about coming out to shows. And then somebody told them I was in, and they go, oh, well, then maybe I don't want to spend the money to come see him. And that can make its way into studio heads and networks.
But
And they
can
go,
I tell you
people here, people
something?
don't like him. So
I'll tell you something about that though. You have zero control over that. Zero. You have zero control over what people say about you, especially when your profile grows and is at a large. You have zero. Here's what you do control: who you are as a person, how hard you work at your craft, how you treat people.
Yeah.
Like those things you do control. So if everyone's like, Matt's an he's a of a person, blah, 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 and you're like, you know what? I'm nice to people. I treat people with respect. Then you know that narrative is a false narrative. And the most you can do, best you can do is ignore it and keep being a good person, keep treating people well,
Yeah.
keep putting on the best shows you can put on. And that's who you are. You're not who people say you are. You know who you are.
Yeah, except for when you post it all over Twitter for the world to see. Yeah, that's awkward. Like, it's almost unbelievable that YMH would drop this podcast with Tom giving Matt advice on how to be a good guy and treat people well, literally days after Tom went off his rocket at a TSA agent over something that no one else really cared about. It just makes their content seem lazy and arrogant. I mean, they spent a fair chunk of this 1.5 hour podcast talking about all this stuff. Matt Rife clearly isn't dealing well with the fame and has some severe small man syndrome going on. This wasn't just a small segment. They kept going back to it over and over again throughout the whole episode. Compare that to Joe Rogan, who at most has said that he doesn't read comments. End of story. Simple. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll pin the best one. Don't forget to also subscribe so you get all my videos in your feed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
what was the most fun thing you did while you were in New Zealand? Like touristy wise.
We did Christchurch, Wellington.
You went to church?
We went to church.
Are you religious? Why'd you go to Christchurch?
That's the name of the city.
Oh. Maybe don't skip out on college and start a career in comedy.
Yeah, I know.
Who the f- names it that?
It's a very strange name.